Welcome back to the Participation Trophy podcast. And the music kept on playing.
Yeah,
you already fucked it up, man.
That's what happens.
That's how we do.
After a 2-week hiatus, we are back like a chiropractor. I know y'all not used to my fucking voice.
Yeah.
Open the show, but man, Joe Glow is a scratch tonight. DMP, some family
coaches load management.
Randy Whitman's coach's decision.
Yeah, this shit's all fucked up. You know what it feels like? It feels like I'm Lou Gossett Jr. and Abdullah's Tom Selleck and fucking, Jamal's Ted Danson. And we got to take care of Neil. And we got to record a podcast.
We better the baby. Hey, man. Hey, 4/5 of the squad still in here tonight.
You already know.
I'm Abdullah Sharif. Got Jamal A. Smith also on the mic. My man ZZ Top Zayn Zaidi. And, of course, our resident virgin, the Neil Dalal.
Neil got a new background. Look at that.
News.
Look at that shit.
Oh, yeah. He got
changed it up.
That plant.
He's like in
Eric Webeck shit.
And he's in that 3 Men and a Baby New York studio apartment and shit.
Yeah. It's a cabbie cursing outside.
Oh, yeah.
Oh, my God. Hey, this is officially, Neil, our first show in the post-Trump era. Or is it?
Shout my name out.
Unfucking believable.
Wait
You
till the
said we
legal
got 2
votes
more
get
months.
counted.
Fuck that.
Nah, we moving on. It's been a long 4 years. I mean, I think there's no exaggeration, but man, last week this time, I was so I hadn't watched TV. I was paranoid.
Yeah.
And you know, if you know me, I'm very deeply into right-wing media, not for education, but for entertainment, because I remain amazed at how, and you know, we talked about it in a group chat, but how people's minds go to these different spaces. I mean, they are of the world, but they are in a different world altogether when it comes to the type of stuff they ingest and what they believe. So, you know, if I hadn't been as immersed, I probably would have, you know, maybe watched election night coverage. But
did you not watch it?
No, because deep down inside, I thought
you said you wouldn't, and I was thinking about it. I was like, this motherfucker in front of the TV.
Nobody believed I would do it because I'm a political junkie.
Yeah,
but I didn't watch. I watched some stuff on my DVR. I ate a very early dinner, and I fucking went to bed early.
An early dinner.
And yeah.
So you skipped the movie. You didn't want any potential.
I didn't do it. And the thing that almost pulled me in was my boys in a group chat, you know, panicking and saying, "Oh, this is it." And they were like, well, at the last minute, they almost got me to get on a Zoom call, and we was gonna all watch this shit together. We're gonna get fucked up and just basically watch the world burn if it was gonna come down to that. And I stayed away, but the text was going off, and I was like, let me just stop checking. And now I realize if I'd gotten on and I'd seen Trump take Florida and Ohio, I would have fucking passed out. Like, I would have been that panicked. So
that's what I did. I went to sleep. I felt like fucking throwing up, and I was like,
yeah. So I managed to tune back in. I think I got up at 4 o'clock because I went to bed so early, about at 4 o'clock, 4:45 Wednesday.
John King was already up.
Yeah.
John
on the boards and shit.
King.
So John King was killing this week. And I got up and at 4:45 I went to my IG feed because Facebook wasn't safe. I got off Facebook too, and I saw a friend of mine posting. She was like, "We're not done yet, but things are looking okay," and I just exhaled a little bit. And from there, I didn't turn my TV off until I think I left the house after the call was made by CNN and Fox.
So I wasn't as scared as you. I'm generally an optimistic person by nature, and leading up to the election a few weeks before, I just had this gut feeling that I just saw Biden, just his popularity just kind of taking over. Mm-hmm. In a lot of areas that I didn't expect to.
Right.
Like I've driven, to North Carolina and back, just a few months ago. Okay. And I saw the Biden flags in places that I just didn't expect to. Mm-hmm. If not an equal amount, but very close. Okay. For every 5 Trump signs, I saw maybe 2 or 3.
There was still a lot of Trump signs.
Yeah, it's a lot. Yeah. No, there still was, but I had this feeling, and it wasn't like 4 years ago where we thought it was going to be a landslide, right?
Sure.
And that's the reason why a lot of people didn't vote.
Yeah.
But we learned kind of quick, not so quick into the night, but around 10 o'clock that Hillary was in trouble. This time around, you didn't get that feeling at all. Like Biden had a considerable lead through most of the night, and then kind of pulled away, and it was all about strategy at that point. Like Johnson was killing it. If he gets Minnesota and Michigan, but doesn't get Pennsylvania, he's still in. If he gets Wisconsin, Michigan, Arizona, and Nevada, he doesn't need any other states.
Bro.
It was just like, whoa, like so many scenarios, so many to Biden winning.
Getting down into the county level and looking at the pockets and how the red areas just can't offset the the deep blue urban vote and Trump, frankly, he lost on certain key demographics. He lost on suburban voters. He lost on not lost altogether, but he lost a piece of that demographic. He lost pieces of the senior vote. And I think I probably panicked a little bit for no reason, but I just got very again, getting back to right-wing media, I bought into a lot of these. If there's one thing Trump knows how to do, is he knows how to galvanize his base, right?
And he knows how to spin a story.
Right. And for every good Biden ad or feedback you'd see a 90-mile Trump train of cars in Arizona, or he killed it with rallies. But you kind of think about it too. You go back to, well, his campaign ran out of money, and I still think at this point we're going to see some stories about how much money was misused in that campaign. So he had to switch out digital ads and media for rallies. He was on the road because he was back on his heels in his own territory. Biden had run circles around him in terms of where they had ground game, and shout out to Biden's campaign manager Simone Sanders for running a masterful fucking campaign during COVID when she outworked Trump. And
she
Biden,
was Bernie's old campaign manager, right?
I believe so. I think so. But masterful job. Yeah. And people think she was abrasive on TV, and she would put off the progressive wing. It all came together perfectly, man. And I'm very impressed on how everything turned out.
Yeah, I got thoughts on the Republican base and Trump's use of them. But Neil, is this your first time voting?
Yeah, but
okay.
I will say though, Maryland's always been a blue state. I know everybody's vote counts, but my vote does not count in Maryland. It's gonna be blue 90% of the time, regardless.
Blue. Yeah.
But for the exact reason of, if I vote, if other people see me vote, if my friends see me vote and they live somewhere else, maybe they're more likely to vote. So I definitely voted for that reason, and also all the local elections that are ongoing as well. So it was good. It was easy.
You voted in person, I guess, on election day?
No. I voted. I dropped off my mail-in ballot at my old high school, just 2 miles away.
Okay, cool.
Super easy.
Yeah,
Maryland made the process seamless.
I went in person on the day of.
What was
I knew there was no line. Nice. My community where we vote at, it's an alternative school, and I can't really say why it's always so easy to go in and out. It's not as crowded. There's never a line more than 5-10 minutes, to be honest.
Nice.
But yeah, it's been a crazy time. It's been we don't know what's gonna. You said it's been a long 4 years, and Trump is obviously trying to prolong that shit.
Yeah, and frankly, it's been longer than that because Trump didn't ascend to political stature right away. He had been cultivating this conspiracy theory bullshit. I mean, he was getting platforms on Fox News years before he got anywhere close to even the party's nomination. So
yeah, the Obama birth certificate bullshit.
He rode in on the conspiracy theory, so it's no secret, therefore, that he's basically going out on one.
Yep.
These spurious allegations all over the place of these bullshit voter fraud. These these cases are getting thrown out left and right. I think as of this evening, I think 6 of them have already been thrown out, across different states. But I don't know about y'all, but I felt different leaving the fucking house on Saturday. I mean, did you feel that shit?
I mean, just the idea that what do you mean Saturday? What happened on Saturday?
Well, when the election was called.
They declared him. CNN called it in the early morning.
Yeah, when the official call was made.
Just the mere thought that you had read Trump's last relevant tweet.
Yeah.
Because for me, it's done. For me, it's like, yeah, he's got 2 more months in office.
Right.
But no one gives a fuck.
We're
talking about the new administration. We're talking about cabinet members. We're talking about
moving on.
Days.
We're moving on.
Right?
The world is moving on. World leaders are moving on.
And so now I forget. I don't check Trump's Twitter for 3 days at a time because I completely forget about him. I go back just to see, what this motherfucker's railing off about. And obviously it's the same shit.
I just never followed him to begin with.
But it's just the feeling of just, what always bothered me about Trump wasn't Trump, but it was his base, it was his following, it was the people that would look at Trump and say, you know what, I fuck with him, right? So, and here's the thing about Trump, and I've said this time and again, Trump is not a Republican, he's not a Democrat. He's Trumpian. We knew Donald Trump for 70 fucking years before we became president, right? And in what world did anyone ever think in that time that this guy could be the leader of anything, let alone the leader of the free world? But he knew that the only base, the only following that he was going to be able to grab and resonate with was the Republican Party. Can you imagine Trump on the Democratic ballot?
No, there's no way.
Would he last more than 48 fucking hours on the dais, on stage with 16 other fucking Democrats?
The DNC wouldn't want him. The Democratic voters wouldn't want him.
So you're saying he wasn't a conservative, and I 1,000% agree. But I'm trying to tie this point in terms of before I thought, okay, there's some crazy motherfuckers out there, right? But I don't really hear from them. I don't see them. And Trump has essentially brought all those people in. This is what the conservative party is now. It's so extreme, and that's just what it is now. So I'm wondering, going forward, when all this dies down, what's it going to be like in the next couple of years? Because and Jamal, I watch a lot of conservative media too. I don't know why I do it. I do it to laugh.
It's fascinating.
But then by the end I'm crying because I'm like, I can't believe this. I watch Ben Shapiro, I watch this Crowder motherfucker, and I'm just I'm waiting for, and I think all these guys are intelligent in their own ways, but when I see all of them jumping on this voter fraud shit and they're posting, all these guys are posting this shit. It's just they don't even think for themselves.
No.
They're just jumping on wherever the fuck he says.
Yeah, I mean, I listen to a few conservative podcasts, and it's almost like they congregate on a Monday and say, this is the agenda of bullshit we're gonna roll out, because they all,
whatever he says, we're gonna roll with it.
All they use the same talking points. I think Trump and these lawsuits have given them basically another month and a half of relevance. So those who really hitch their wagons completely to Trump and don't talk about shit else, motherfuckers who've written books about him, podcasts about him, tweet about him, they don't have anything left,
But,
so
but
they are going to
continue to push this. It's if you have any form of media, if you have a podcast, and obviously not us, we're in a different zone, right? But these people cannot afford to go against anything he says because they're going to divide their listener base up. It's all about money at this point. Like you're saying, they're trying to keep their listeners here. Nobody's going to come out of those and say, you know what, I think he's wrong about this, because they're going to lose half their fucking listeners, at least, maybe even 3/4, right? And it's becoming really frustrating to even, you can't even go to the other side now to consume it for anything.
Well, look how Fox News got trashed over the weekend. So many Trump supporters have turned on Fox News, and it started
because
with them.
They decided to become.
They called Arizona, which put off a whole bunch of people.
Right?
Yeah.
Besides that, I mean, Trump railed off on them on their show on Fox and Friends. Yeah. And just over the weekend, one of the Fox anchors was overheard. She thought her mic was off.
Yes,
She had a guest on the show, basically still pushing this whole thing about.
She was like, "Excuse me, we actually called that already."
Right, exactly, because she was going off on other
tangents.
The outlets, that had gone out and called the election. Anyways, my thing is this. One theory that I've had is, or fear almost, is that Trump could have inspired some of these more intellectual figures on the right, people that could make it as politicians just off their intellect, their education, but
money.
still have those extreme ideologies that they could still push to still resonate with some of these bases. But somebody who's not Donald Trump,
somebody who has integrity,
right? But still be able to push these underlying extremism.
Agendas. Yep.
agendas, and it's very possible he may have already planted that seed somewhere where some of these more educated intellectual figures are like, if he can get away with this shit.
But who are you thinking about?
What's that? Nobody in particular.
Well, the scary thing is that a lot of,
generally speaking, about just Trump's
Sure.
inspiration.
I was just wondering if you had somebody in mind. You're like, oh, this guy.
Oh, absolutely not. No. I haven't thought about it to that degree.
But the scary thing is that
future of the Republican Party.
Sure.
So many Trump surrogates are very highly educated people, and you kind of wonder where the fuck did shit go wrong.
They got that
When
one
you are
screw
a-
in the brain.
When you hold a, you're a Harvard grad, or you graduate from a prestigious master's program at Georgetown, and this is what the fuck you choose to do with your life.
You don't get it either, bro.
Make up shit. It's
Breach.
and and unfortunately, people look to those credentials and say, well, if this person of this stature or this educational level believes this stuff, maybe there's some validity to it. And I think that's how
snowball effect.
Yeah, that's how the right-wing disinformation machine keeps going. I don't want to take away though from the historic election of Biden and Kamala Harris. I think they're going to be, not only is it just going to be a return to normalcy in politics, I'm excited to see how they build up their cabinet. I think they have a lot of good choices they can make and building out. But, just Biden's been at this for a long time. I mean, let's not mince words. He's old as shit, and Kamala is going to be, there's a lot to look at in terms of, I'm happy that he achieved what he ultimately wanted to. He's run for president, I think, for 3 times now. But we need to look at, how this basic kind of moderate centrist guy is going to blend with the way the world's going in the progressive manner and the things that, a lot of people look for in the Bernie ticket in that wing of the party, and how that's going to come together. And so it's going to be interesting to see how they build it out. And I'm looking forward to that too.
Yeah, just the mere breath of civility to hear that. I mean, Biden, he's old as fuck.
Yeah.
He stammers. You feel like he's gonna lose his breath every third sentence.
Yeah.
I get it. But you could put a fucking ventriloquist and a doll up there.
Yeah.
Spewing some mere civility, some respectable shit.
Yeah.
And it's like
Thank
like a breath of fresh air, man. Like, goddamn.
Well, look, man, just to kind of wrap, I think, we on this podcast alone, if you think about it, we were so impacted by the words that we saw every fucking day on that Twitter feed and the kind of just brash stuff that came from supporters in public. And, I heard a woman speaking the other day. She's like, I didn't know how, my dad would be treated. He's a black male. And when he left the house every time, in this particular area we live in, I don't know what he's going to get hurled at him. I don't know what. We are all, people of color. Some of us are first generation Americans, children of immigrants, so on and so forth. There's a lot that we felt attacked by during this presidency. And it's almost like he rotated which minority group he wanted to fuck with. And think about it, I just took everything he said to me was an affront to who I was. And it always offended me even more to see black people hopping on his train and very curiously forgetting about all the terrible shit he's done before and during his time in office. So it feels like a new day. It feels like a new day. And I don't give a fuck what's going on with this background noise until Inauguration Day, but I'm ready to move forward just like the rest of the world is.
Inauguration Day cannot come soon enough.
Oh my God.
It will. It'll be here sooner than you think. But listen, you're right. Trump is out. Biden's in. And I can give a shit about what Trump has to say about it no more than I give a shit about the goddamn Pittsburgh Steelers being 8-0. So we're going to seg into the NFL. Some open gym.
Ooh, what a segue.
Yeah. Woo! In the NFL. Remember, what was his name from 93.9 who did the sports report?
Oh, shit. Part? Yeah, I'm trying to blank on his name.
Sports from the streets? Street,
yeah.
Sports from the streets?
Yeah.
In the NBA. But yeah, the Steelers now 8-0, barely beating the Cowboys.
Scared me for a second, man. Steelers defense in my fantasy squad.
Steelers defense on your fantasy squad. How's that feel?
Yeah. They would hold me down.
That's a good metric to see how good are the Steelers.
Yeah,
by their fantasy defense.
Right. We not believing in the Steelers?
There's no really, there's no really the NFL has shifted so much. There's no really great dominant defenses at this point.
That's
so like
true.
I'm sure you were like, okay, matchup wise, they got this third stringer.
Oh, that was a wrap. It was
Fourth
like
stringer,
four picks, a fumble. Yeah.
AAF
Didn't go
football.
like that. Yeah.
But
Yeah, so they barely beat the Cowboys. Let's run off some of the teams they beat earlier this season. They beat the Giants, the Texans, the Broncos, the Browns, the Eagles. Two pretty good, respectable wins, Titans and Ravens.
Right.
The Ravens have been kind of struggling this year too. I mean, they beat Indianapolis pretty good in the second half, but been kind of suspect in that first half. So the Steelers are 8-0. Go ahead, Neil.
The Steelers, they lost Devin Bush, which is a pretty big hurt on their linebacking core, but they're kind of in that, not purgatory stage because they're a step above purgatory, but there's about 5 or 6, 7 teams that are right there on the cusp of competing for something Super Bowl level. But then there are that, really, I would say just the Kansas City Chiefs at this point are the only team I would say are the leader of the pack.
Definitely, I think they're the only ones I can.
But it also takes a lot for a bunch of NFC East team fans to be shit on the Steelers. I think y'all three. Wait, we got
Giants.
No, Giants and Redskins.
Yeah,
correct.
I think the whole NFC East can combine 8 wins total, right?
More than that. Because between the rest of them that they play each other and win
just
against each other, take away conference games, shit, you'd be lucky to get 4 wins.
So going back to Pittsburgh, what's their formula? I've seen some games here and there, but I don't think I've watched a full Steelers game. I know Ben's not, is he hitting game manager level? Has he been kind of buoyed by? I think
they've been putting up some points.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, their big weapon is Claypool. They drafted him out of Notre Dame this year.
Yeah.
And he's just been fucking killing it.
Yeah.
So they've been able to put up points. He has measurables, great measurables.
They compared him to Calvin Johnson, so
yeah, he's nice.
How they compare to Paul George?
Claypool, yeah.
Their defense, I don't really know what to say. Their defense has been pretty solid. Like I said, there's no great defenses anymore, but they got some talent. Like Neil said, they got Devin Bush, you got Casey Hayward, who's a fucking monster.
Mm-hmm.
And then you got, they got a decent set of corners. Joe Hayden's, having a pretty good season. So I think they're good, but like Abdullah said, they played some good teams, but we haven't seen the Pittsburgh Steelers play teams like, and these other teams have their flaws too, like the Packers, the Bucks, the Chiefs, the Ravens. They could have easily lost that game. So it's going to be, I'm actually curious what the rest of their schedule is and see how they pan out.
So they got the Bengals and Jags back to back.
I don't know.
But I think to your point, I think they're just a really good, well-rounded team, especially on offense.
They're very solid.
They're very solid. They got pieces and players that can pick up when other players don't. I mean, just the trio of receivers between Claypool, Juju, and Deontay Johnson. They're all getting the almost identical number of targets.
Okay.
So Ben's throwing it out to him.
Even Eric Ebron's been decent.
Yeah, and the Ebron too. I didn't even know they had Ebron. Did they pick up Ebron this year?
I think this is his first year there. Yeah.
I never know whose team Eric Ebron is on. I'll be watching a game and they'll be like, Eric Ebron, the Lions, the Steelers.
That's because you confuse him with Ingram too, probably.
Evan Ingram?
No,
it's
Evan Ingram. I just feel
Eric
like the
Ebron's that dude. Like you pick him up in the draft. And you're like, oh, he's an athlete.
That's a good topic. As players, they pop on teams randomly. You just forgot they existed. Yeah. Ebron is one of them.
It's always the tight ends like Jimmy Graham or
Jimmy Graham's been on like.
It's crazy.
Put up Tony Massenberg team numbers.
Oh.
So we brought up the Bucks. Y'all catch that Sunday night game, Brady and Breeze.
Oh,
yeah.
Brady, I will not forgive you for losing my fantasy game this week. It really.
I will not forgive you for starting a 43-year-old on your fantasy team.
Man.
You know better than that, man.
Warren Moon. He's in a Warren Moon.
I was thinking.
He's got Mike Evans, Chris Godwin.
She's no Jeff George.
But it's got,
Vince Evans. Remember Vince Evans?
It goes to show you, like chemistry and the fact that their protection is struggling. It doesn't matter. It just doesn't matter who you have.
Their weapons.
Yeah. It doesn't matter. But that kind of ass whooping, like I don't understand the NFL. Like I've been hating on the Saints all year. I feel like they haven't won any big games. I feel like they're front runners, and then the Packers. I never believed in them. Then I see the Packers get their ass whipped by the Bucks, and then I see the Packers beat the Saints, and then I see the Saints beat the shit out of the fucking Bucks. It's just like a big.
So the Saints swept the Bucks, right?
Yeah, they swept them, and that's why I was bad. I was like, there's no way they're gonna beat them twice, and they got Antonio Brown, but they got some problems. I mean, they don't have a good running game. The running game's so. Their protection isn't good. Clearly, there's some frustration. Bruce Arians is, I'm not saying throwing Tom Brady under the bus, but he's calling out his mistakes. That's for sure. He's been calling them out after the games.
Shout out to Bruce and that face shield. That's like my favorite shit to look for every Sunday.
Yeah.
Yo, you see the other dude, one of the assistant coaches for one of those teams, he wrapped shorts around his face.
No, I didn't see that.
He took the two straps from the shorts and tied them into knots and put them around.
Come on, bro. You work for an NFL team. Like I believe you. I'm just saying there's no excuse for that shit.
Okay.
Like I said, not ample equipment. Like get the fuck out of here. Yeah, I feel like you, Neil. I took L's because I had Mike Evans and Gronk. Gronk dropped. He dropped the touchdown, right?
Mm-hmm. That would have given me the win too.
I just needed one of
So
those.
at what point do you guys willingly bring up the Miami Dolphins?
Hey, I picked up Jason Sanders in some fantasy leagues this week.
I didn't watch that game, so
we're giving you your own stage. Go ahead.
Go ahead.
No, I'm just.
You've been sitting on shit. Go ahead.
We're talking about 6-2 teams, 5-3 teams. You know what I mean? So
go ahead.
Oh, because if we don't let him talk about it.
I was also triggered by Zane saying, there's no really good runaway defenses.
Oh, okay.
Is it a runaway? Like, you know,
you know me, I'm hyperbolic.
You know, like the days of like that Baltimore defense, that even Seattle's getting their ass whooped.
Yeah. No, I think for the Dolphins, the Tua was supposed to be the highlight.
Sure.
Of the season, his return, but it's been the defense.
Didn't Tua get off to a rough start on Sunday?
His first play of his career was getting mauled by fucking Aaron Donald and
pick, right?
Yeah.
No, he got it was a sack fumble.
Oh, okay, right, turnover.
Yeah, but we turned around pretty quickly. But no, I just wanted to see how y'all felt.
No, it's cool. It's cool, man. It's cool.
It's okay. Abdullah's gonna go on a long rant next week about Tua versus Justin Herbert.
Oh, that's coming up.
I think that is next week.
Justin Herbert's been fucking disappointing me the past couple of weeks, man. I mean,
the team has been disappointing. He's
even when he throws ugly, it's pretty. Like probably Justin Herbert, but he hasn't been playing like he did the first few games. So is that this week? Chargers Dolphins?
Correct. Yeah. Time flies.
Oh, get that lube out, bro.
Yeah. You better send your wife to the spa, motherfucker. You better send Miriam to the fucking spa.
I gotta get the vino out for that one.
Yeah.
Dermatologist approval.
All right, Jennifer Aniston.
Speaking of lube, boxing. No, we still got to talk about the NBA, man. NBA's coming around the corner. I think we got like back-to-back milestone dates on the calendar.
So excited, man.
Between the draft and opening night, we're talking about less than a month, right?
Yeah.
Just over. November 18th to December 22nd.
These rookies, they're not even going to have time to go back to school shopping.
Bro, when I saw that press release about the dates coming up, man, I kind of checked out mentally because I'm just beyond. I think I've lost sight of the draft, and be honest with you, man. Like I almost forgot that shit. And I was listening to Zach Lowe's podcast, and he was like, the analysts were like, Jonathan Gavoni, and I forgot who the other guy is. They were like, we're tired of looking at these rookies. Like we just want to get this shit over with.
Mm-hmm.
I just want the Wizards to draft Obi Toppin. So
he's not going to fall to them.
Okay, listen, so I can make some head jokes, like
I like that. That's good foresight.
I want to bring some head jokes to Wizards Twitter. So if Tommy Shepard,
if you're listening,
I'm gonna have Neil turn in his credentials. Man. I'm sorry, but yeah, go ahead, Jamal. Back to your expert.
Yeah, no. Yeah, I've been following these guys for a while, just like everybody else. I mean, I was preparing for the draft back in the summer and before everything, kind of fell apart. What I've heard is it seems like the draft day trade talk is kind of dying down, if not completely gone, because there was a heavy trade talk about the Warriors moving their number 2 pick.
Right.
Trading down, some people trading up. A lot of people were targeting James Wiseman, I heard last week. So there was rumors about people trading up. All that seems to kind of have fizzled out a little bit. Not saying it's not going to happen, but that part of the draft kind of died out.
I remember those trade rumors.
Yeah,
I think Wiseman was the consensus projection.
Number 3
for the Warriors. Yeah, for number 3 for the Warriors. And so, but what were the Warriors?
The Warriors are 2. The Warriors are 2.
The Warriors are 2. Okay, but
Yeah.
there was a lot of Wiseman Warriors talk, is what I was trying to imply.
I heard a lot of Wiseman Hornets talk as far as fit, like what they really need.
So what do the Warriors want?
So I can't peg who. I don't know what the fuck's gonna happen with the Warriors. It seems, I mean, it kind of leaked out that LaMelo Ball is really definitely going number 1, but then I'm like, maybe I'm overthinking it, but does anybody else kind of get concerned about the fit? Because why do they need another point guard with, D'Lo there? So I was kind of thinking about that, and then I don't know what Golden State needs if they want another young player that might not even crack the rotation for at least half the season. Right. So there's some questions. There's the questions aren't around the order, the top 3 players. It's clearly Edwards, Ball, and Wiseman. The question is around fit and what happens basically after the number 1 pick. Right. It's just a really, really weird thing.
I think Wiseman is the perfect fit for the Warriors. I mean, they've been longing like a real true big. And there's no true big.
What do you mean? Andrew Bogut, JaVale McGee, stellar.
I thought you were going to drop a name that I like Kevon Looney.
I was about to,
yeah. So I think Wiseman, especially in terms of development and growing, having all those pieces around you.
Yeah.
For a rookie and for a big, especially that's pretty good to start off with. So I see him as a good fit in Golden State. I'm just curious, as you mentioned, like what would the Warriors want, or what are they seeking in a trade?
So I know they're trying. I feel like they're trying to get rid of Wiggins. Like he's in all the trade rumors with Golden State,
and he'll be what makes the money work.
Right. Exactly. I don't know if anything's going to happen at this point. I'm looking at a lot of mocks, and I'm unfortunately reminded of the Wizards getting a really kind of shitty pick. There are people that fit around 9, but man, it's just we can't ever crack that like overperform expectations type of draft order.
And the year we did, we got Otto Porter Jr. at number 3.
Yeah, it's just a real.
Otto Porter might have been the safest.
You mean Lionel Richie?
Lionel Richie, yeah.
Nah, Jason Campbell.
But this is Tommy's first true draft as GM. No, he had Rui.
He did Rui.
Yeah. Rui's a good pick. Yeah.
Yeah, and so we get to see in 9th pick again. We get to see kind of how we'll see how Rui starts to develop, and now we'll get to see what kind of traits and attributes what Tommy sees in the 9th pick, whoever he chooses.
I mean, this is where you make your money, man. This is where Ernie couldn't do shit. I mean, he could not. He couldn't pick.
And to your point,
even when he did have a 1st-round pick.
Right.
It's a very muddied up kind of mid group there, like everything.
Oh, totally.
8 on down. That's where, like you said, you make your money in these type of drafts where these same players like Sadiq Bey. I've seen him go from the draft board from number 8 to 13 to 19 to 20, all over the place. Yeah. So
I mean, I'm looking at Tyrese Halliburton is who I'm interested in.
I don't think he'll get to 9.
Why are these names so complicated? Like, whatever happened to just normal motherfucking names?
Have you seen these names?
Onyeka Okongwu.
Precious something. Yeah.
Pokuševski. This is a top 15 pick, sir.
Yeah.
Achiuwa. His first name is Precious.
Precious. Yep.
My favorite strippers was Precious. Oh, there, College Park.
Oh yeah, mine is Cinnamon.
Speaking of College Park, Misty.
But yeah.
Cole Anthony was a projected number 1 pick.
So let's talk about Let's talk about Cole Anthony real quick. I saw him. He was working out against somebody, Kevin Porter Jr., and he was getting that work. And I was like, I don't know, man. Like, you talk about people that have just slid from high school expectations down to. I mean, he might go in the 20s now.
He's not a lottery pick.
He's not. And I think just like everybody else, I was waiting for him to kind of break through. I know he had the injury at UNC, but he kind of came back, and I was like, he's going to finally like get it together. That dude, man. But you know what? That might be better for him, right? he might need to go somewhere where the expectations aren't high. He might, need to do some G League bounces, but he's not what he was supposed to be.
He's going to go to the Celtics or someplace like that and turn into a stud.
Right. That's probably best for him.
So we talked about. Go ahead.
I was going to say no. Go ahead.
See, this is what happens when Joe's not here, man.
Miss you, Joe.
I was going to kind of go into some of the trade rumors since we talked about trades.
Okay.
As it pertains to the draft, but one of the trade rumors we heard today, we were talking about earlier, me and Jamal, Chris Paul going to Phoenix.
Yeah. I don't like it because this is for selfish reasons, but I'm so used to, we kind of grew up seeing guys in their twilight. Not that Chris Paul's done, but he's close to it. But you see them kind of latching on with championship contenders. That Cole, Gary Payton, and Karl Malone type of end of their run, that type of shit. So, will he be a boost for Phoenix? Absolutely. And Phoenix obviously lit up the world when they were in the bubble. But I don't know.
Contender, we loved what we saw with OKC, but we knew in our hearts that it wasn't gonna go anywhere, right?
Yeah.
Like, what are the Suns gonna be, a 7 or 8 seed in the packed West?
Yeah, they'll go to a game 7.
Those boys. Yeah, I don't know if I like that.
I want to see him on a contender. I want to see him on the Bucks. I want to see him on the Celtics. I want to see him on the Heat. Whatever, somebody.
Yeah,
he's one of my top 5 favorite players ever.
Yeah, definitely. I just kind of want different for him.
Yeah.
We'll see.
I saw a rumor about. I saw a Russell Westbrook rumor, like the Clippers and the Clips and the.
So they're gonna reunite Paul George and Russ, or are they gonna send Paul George out?
He's the type of player I'd want to see sent to somewhere. Someone.
Well, the Knicks were on that list too, so
yeah, send him
it could be a thing.
Send Russell Westbrook to those Suns, man.
That's what I'm saying. Send him.
Yeah, send him. Don't send Chris Paul. Right.
Yeah.
It's a couple things. I think the free agency, there's a free agency period, but the biggest names are just going to opt right back in, right? Like AD is going back to LA. I forgot who else is on the top of that list, but there's kind of a nothing free agent class.
So AD was on a 1-on-1 contract, a player option.
Yeah.
Year. Okay.
Yeah.
So he's opting. Is Giannis on an opt-in this year, or he's just gonna be? He didn't have to opt in, right? He's under contract.
I think he's under contract.
I'm pretty sure he's under contract. Otherwise, that would be a much bigger storyline.
It would have been a bigger story. You're right.
It's weird because I feel like Milwaukee. Not that they should signal anything or they can signal anything, but is it a foregone conclusion that he's out of Milwaukee?
Well, you never know. They could win something this year.
And if so, did that change after they got bounced in the playoffs? Because I think people felt more confident about it until they flamed out.
There was this, you know what it is, they lose, and then all eyes are on Giannis. What is he going to do? And then at that point, you're kind of waiting for the organization to send some sort of word out, right? And obviously, there's the two scenarios are the organization doesn't really say anything, and what actually happened is they came out and said, look, whatever it takes, we're going to spend the money, we're going to make the moves, right?
Okay.
So I think he's going to, I don't want to say fall into the trap, but I think that's all he wanted to hear. That helps. It's like, baby, please stay, I'll change. You know what I mean? Like,
but they also can't bring another piece in for him.
Exactly. Like, I want to see what they actually do, but that's going to remain to be seen. He has to stay to really witness that and make a decision after that. But
they don't have much desirable stuff on their roster outside of him. I mean,
no, they really don't. I mean,
who's their best young player? DiVincenzo? I mean, he's.
Yeah, I mean, Brook Lopez is older. Middleton is older. When they lost Brogdon, that was a big piece they lost. George Hill is old.
Yeah.
So
Chris Middleton is the only all-star that you'll be like, I don't really need him on my team.
Yeah, and he's just one of those all-stars that's like, okay, he can put up some points, but he's not a game changer.
He's pretty limited, right.
All right, we'll see. Well, did y'all know that the Greek Freak was actually a boxer too?
There's a Greek Freak nickname?
No. The Greek Freak, Giannis.
He boxes?
That's like part of an intense part of his workout regimen.
I've seen players.
That was part of his whole bulking. Like,
was that a segue? Are you leading into a segue?
I literally Googled.
You dirty dog, you.
And it turns out this motherfucker got swole like in 2018 and started boxing.
Yo, he got big as shit that summer. I remember that.
Shit that summer.
I remember
A
that.
lot of big motherfuckers.
Yeah, that LaRon Landry summer.
Yeah, he did. He
but
did.
dudes had like these broad ass shoulders. Like, and you see like Anthony Davis and Giannis and even Rondo.
Rondo's shit look freakish, man. He like Phil Jackson.
Broad. Yeah, Phil Jackson is a broad motherfucker.
Yeah.
So wait for it. Which one of these players can take Gervonta Davis in the ring?
None of the
Take?
12 rounds.
Giannis weighs what? Probably what? 240? 240? So he's got about 100 pounds on Gervonta, but still probably that wouldn't be enough.
Giannis could probably, take a swipe at Gervonta from like
3 feet away.
Corner to
with
one corner to the other corner.
Dawson Street Fighter shit.
Yeah, some Sagat shit.
Yeah.
So speaking of Davis, Zane.
Resident boxing expert.
Yeah, drop us some heat on that fight, man.
So Gervonta Davis, who I believe was born and raised in Baltimore, so he's somewhat of a homegrown talent.
We claiming him.
Yeah, we claiming him. Also known as
DMD.
Mini Mike Tyson.
Yeah.
I really like Gervonta. I like him from what I see as a person. He's one of those guys that grew up in the streets, and he got picked up, by his trainer, who's still training him to this day. And he's an undefeated boxer. He's doing big things. So he fought Leo Santa Cruz a few weeks ago, and that fight ended on what would presumably be the knockout of the year.
Yeah.
And probably going to be it's one of the greatest knockout punches. If anybody hasn't seen it, it's very rare to see a great uppercut knockout.
Yeah.
And that shit was brutal. And Leo Santa Cruz is no slouch. He's a very good fighter. Only had one loss. And came back and avenged that loss. So that was a great fight. And that was Gervonta's first fight actually being directly trained by Floyd Mayweather.
Is that right?
Floyd is actually training now. Floyd.
Oh shit, I didn't know that.
Yeah,
I didn't know
Floyd
that.
Started actually legitimately training this year. He trained Devin Haney, who's another contender. And he trained Gervonta for that fight. So it was a pretty good fight. It was well contested, and then he landed this vicious uppercut.
Nasty.
And when he starts throwing this uppercut, if anybody wants to watch the Tank Davis Gamboa fight, like he had Gamboa on the ropes in the 12th round. He was just going like throwing this wild ass uppercuts, waiting for one to land on some Street Fighter shit. So that shit was crazy. I was watching that shit live, and it was one of those knockouts where you're just like, you hold your breath and you're like, okay, is this dude gonna live?
Yeah.
Because the dude was just like, when the dude's legs go flat and he's not getting up.
So the ref didn't even count, right?
Oh no, it was just
instant.
Yeah.
That man,
like it's over. Yeah, it was like
corner.
Like fucking Smokey popped out the damn tree, and
I'll put my money on any boxer that was found like beating the shit out of some dude on the street.
Oh yeah.
Come to my gym real quick. Let me show you something.
Exactly. And he looks so small, but like he has trouble making weight. So he's actually going to move up in weight class because he always has trouble making weight. But the dude's got some.
He was on the All the Smoke podcast, and I got to hear some of his story. I listened to it before the fight, and like true street shit. Talking about how he got jumped and he avenged that shit, and he still got his ass whooped, but he got his shit off, and he was sleeping outside the gym.
Very mild mannered, very quiet.
Definitely
like the attention, but
yeah. You could tell he wasn't really used to doing any interviews, but. Good ass story, man. Just I love like kind of to Abdullah's point, hearing guys just getting groomed like straight from the streets, like you don't have the pedigree, you don't have the fucking special accommodations. You just came up fucking raw, and you just got that innate talent.
So, speaking of boxing, one of my favorite Chappelle show skits was the frontline one in a gay world. Where he's that gay boxer.
Yeah.
So he's making a comeback. I think Netflix is picking him up.
No, he's not making a comeback. Right? It's just showing the old. It's.
I don't think. I mean, I know he's under contract with Netflix, but I don't think he has any more specials.
Yeah, he's not going to do it. I mean, he'll probably do specials in the future, but not like the show.
Yeah.
So somebody miswrote this on the agenda, basically. So again, Joe, we need you back next week.
Blame Joe.
When
Yo, no lie, it happened. Like Jamal posted on his Instagram, and I don't know why I misread it too. I was like, oh my god, Chappelle. Yo, I almost had a heart attack. Like Chappelle show's coming back. I thought it was like brand new material. Yo, I was like,
nah, I think we've seen the end of Chappelle doing sketch. I mean,
yeah, it's just so annoying. This is such a good time. Like he's so.
Look. I'm glad the shit is back on right around the election time. We may have needed that shit to keep people from committing suicide if things had gone a different way. So I'm happy it came back on. And
I've just seen all this so much. It's just, you know.
Yeah.
I've overdone it.
I think Chappelle's voice is important in these times, and I think he can do it too. I think more than just a comedian, his ability to be a public speaker, to kind of, and especially the way he uses, memories and stories that he knows about to kind of really relate to current times. It's incredible.
Chappelle's joke pacing and timing is some of the best I've ever seen. Sure.
Right. And the Chappelle show is irreplaceable.
Yeah.
And so part of you kind of doesn't want him to put out material kind of at the tail end of like where we think he might be in his prime, like kind of going out of it. And possibly make stuff that wouldn't match what we saw on Comedy Central, right? So
I'm reminded of how we didn't want Coming to America touch. We just talked about it a few weeks ago. Like if he tampered with the shit again, it just won't be. It won't be what we remember.
Absolutely. And I'm not saying he shouldn't make any new content. He should. But like a sketch comedy.
Just
leave it where it's at.
Left on a high note, right?
I mean, so many of those skits. I mean, you can't even count your hands. Which one will be your favorite? I mean, off the top of your list, you're talking about the Charlie Murphy, Prince, Bigsby, Mad Real World.
Mad Real World. That's what I wrote down as like.
That might be my favorite.
It's a sleeper, man. It's a sleeper. It's a sleeper.
Some cognac, bitch.
Banana cognac, bitch.
Banana cognac.
The racial draft, I'll admit, it took me twice to watch.
Okay.
So really, I love the racial.
I love it now. The first time I saw it, I was just kind of like, it was good. Yeah. But I had to watch it a second time to really kind of just feel it.
I actually love just like the sly commentary in that more than like the draft picks. Like Bill Burr, I love Bill Burr, and he's on there too. Just
most def with that voice and that wig on and shit.
Most def, yeah.
But that's one of these skits that people still fucking work into their lexicon and their tweets and shit now. Like I gotta trade, so and so. Let's trade this. So that's one of these things that's kind of the skit that's kind of stuck around. And it's don't get me wrong, a lot of Chappelle shit is stuck around. Period. But
it's so
racial shit. The racial draft shit is still some people quote a lot.
Throw an Eminem. Wait a minute now, Rontel. Wait a minute. That wasn't the deal.
So what is this Chappelle Netflix thing that was on?
Just the reruns.
No, they just
got ownership of the reruns.
Yeah.
Okay, just ownership of the rerun.
Yeah. They're just showing motherfucking reruns.
You know what I thought was funny?
I've seen it too many times.
I'm here.
SNL, obviously Chappelle hosts an SNL. I don't know if we're going to chat about that a little bit more, but he mentioned in his monologue that he's not getting paid anything else for it. Mm-hmm. I thought that was interesting. So maybe they just worked that under his whole umbrella contract thing. But
the joke he made about his great grandfather and if his great-grandfather was alive today, and he'd be like, "This nigga got got stolen more than I did." Talking about his great grandfather was a slave. I mean, it's just and that in particular, him tying that memory of his great grandfather and putting it into perspective, the way he did.
Yep.
Just talking about the history of his grandfather, his nature as a slave, living in those times, and then the evolution of the family name to becoming Dave Chappelle. And his name, he refers to his show being the name of his great grandfather, right?
Yeah.
That in itself, the way he ties that in together,
that's stuff, man.
It's remarkable.
Yeah.
Contrarian viewpoint coming. So I've never got into his stand-up. I never, and I don't dislike it. I love Dave Chappelle. Okay. I've never gotten it's never been my cup of tea.
Okay.
I love his sketch work. I think he's so good at bringing ideas like and visions into like actual media. But what I enjoy the most about him, and I'm not trying to rail into stand-up, the point is like, I just love hearing him talk, even if there's no joke coming. I just love his insight. And like another guy who I've also loved for that is David Letterman. I grew up watching David Letterman. I think he's fucking amazing. So like watching him, like I would pay to watch him just sit in a chair, interview people, and just shoot the shit.
Yeah,
right.
yeah.
Like, I don't know if anybody caught that Letterman and
a show
Chappelle.
on Netflix.
Which one?
Letterman has his own show.
Yeah, the
on
Letterman
Netflix,
show
right?
on Netflix.
Yeah.
And he was on there, and it's so good. Just seeing two down to earth, insightful, like, you know, just people just shooting the shit and talking about life. Like that's what I love him for.
When Dave sits down and lights a cigarette, like, you know, some dope shit is about to come out.
That man was chain smoking.
There's
on
this
stage.
one line.
Is the best
There's this one line he had. It always stuck with me. It's just like, he's like, I hate the word crazy. It's so dismissive. Like, I don't understand this person, so they're crazy. Like, it's just like,
I feel
he's
you.
so razor sharp.
You know what? I
in
feel
how he
like
views the world.
his stand-up has become more, to me, commentary based in his later years than, you know,
Exactly.
the more slapstick, you know, cop pulled me over, you know, bugging out type of shit. He's become more. Yeah, I mean, I listen to him more for. I think his YouTube special that he actually talked about on SNL also, when he did in the fucking cornfield with this, you know, isolated seats and all that stuff. That was more impactful to me than his last stand-up, which frankly I was kind of 50-50 on. Yeah.
That was a piece of art, you know.
Yeah.
His stand-up, for me, it just hasn't been the thing.
I feel you.
But here's my take on Chappelle, and it kind of counters yours too, because I feel like even his jokes, even when he's at his most obnoxious state, right, just telling jokes, being funny, whatever, I think there's always some underlying message there too, because he brings up but you know, and I've heard that a lot in not all of his jokes, but a good portion of his jokes, even in his earliest days. I kind of felt like Chappelle just wasn't somebody who just ran off jokes. It was always something there, some substance there that made you think about the reality of the joke that he's making, whatever storyline, whatever situation that he was making fun of, right? I think a lot of comedians do that, but I think Chappelle did it exclusively. And now Chappelle is in a phase where, like you said, Jamal, where it's more commentary. And I think it's very important for him to continue that too, because he's got a strong voice. It's very well thought out, well put together, coherent. A lot of underlying messages, a lot of things that make you think about things from an angle that you normally wouldn't have, particularly as it pertains to race. And that's the most important part of it. And that's what he did in the cornfield on that Netflix special. And that's what he did on Saturday Night Live. He has the talent to make it a very serious monologue for a good 5 minutes and still throwing a joke in there. You hate to laugh, but it's so funny that you
Of course. You know, I think for me, I just like angry comedians. So
who do you fuck with, like, stand-up wise?
Stand-up wise, nowadays, nobody.
But just, like, you know, in general, because there's not a whole
prime
lot
of primes.
Yeah.
I mean, I grew up like nothing for me, nothing fucks with Chris Rock in the early to mid 90s. I just felt like, and it's not even about quality, like he's better, like the style for me, where it's just a fucking onslaught for an hour, just like the energy, the anger, you know, everything. And obviously, like Abdullah says, he mixes in like the social commentary Chris Rock had, like the progressive social commentary he had. Some of the shit he was like, the risks he was taking, like he had a whole bit about black people for sniggers, right? And like that, like, and his views on OJ and the election and, you know, like politics and everything. I always loved him. I like some more self-deprecating stuff too. I think Chris Rock's fell off a lot. Louis C.K. when early in his prime, I loved. I think Patrice O'Neal is probably one of the most underrated comedians.
Truly.
Like Elephant in the Room is like one of my favorite stand-up bits. And then Chappelle is just like, I think for me, I get into this habit of not comparing, but like his sketch, that show was so damn good that like it's so hard for me to watch him do anything else. Like it's so
really, that's
good.
interesting. That's really interesting. I respect it.
So good.
I get it.
I can agree with the sketch comedy being so good, but I don't know. It just doesn't take away from the stand-up.
No. It's still upper echelon, top tier.
Okay, so did you discover Chappelle through the sketch comedy or through stand-up? Because I discovered him through stand-up.
Yeah.
I would see him movies, and I would see some of his stand-up, but I never got into it. Well, it was too goofy for me.
Zane's coming back. Yeah, that's all right. That's
my
cool.
bad. Yeah, my bad. Yeah, so I watched his stand-up. I wasn't deep into it though, but I watched his stand-up, and he was very goofy to me. You know, that was his shtick, and I felt like the goofiness really worked in playing characters. It was just for me. I'm really anal about delivery, and for me, it's not my cup of tea. Doesn't mean it's not great.
So I like Chappelle's early stand-ups too, but and I definitely was a big Chris Rock fan. I love Chris Rock's early stuff when he was on his run for a while.
Yeah,
he
Bigger
was
and Blacker,
untouchable.
Bring the Pain.
Yeah, man. Yeah, because Chris he's a great writer. He's a great joke writer. Like his shit's very. The timing's good. He's very kind of like really good with delivery. But on the other hand, I also like comedians that just don't have any fucking structure to their shit. Like my favorite stand-up comedian is Mike Epps, man. Mike Epps doesn't write. He barely writes jokes. His shit is a bunch of ad libs and like he imitates old black men, and that shit kills me. I saw Mike a year or two ago at the Warner, and I damn near fucking peed on myself, man. Like, so I'm kind of all over the place with the kind of stand-up I like, but I think like
you brought up a good point.
Yeah, well, I like Chappelle's arc also. I like where he's grown into as far as his writing and what he focuses on now, what he wants to deliver. That monologue on SNL, they had to let Dave be Dave. So that's why it was the edgiest fucking monologue you've probably ever heard on SNL. But it had to be him and speaking from his heart. It couldn't be any other way.
So this is a great.
Go ahead. I'm sorry. You could tell Chappelle, his level of giving a fuck is next to zero. Like,
zero. Yeah, absolutely.
Even in that monologue, like I can't call out specifically where he said some real like edgy shit, but he would say it and he just glared into the crowd like, "Are you triggered?"
And what? Yeah.
What you gonna say?
Did I hurt somebody's feelings?
Yeah.
Right? Like,
so this is a thing I've been thinking about too, because I was watching Beverly Hills Cop, and there's 2 points. Like I was watching Beverly Hills Cop the other day, and I never got into Eddie Murphy stand up either. I wasn't a huge fan. I'm not saying I disliked it.
You guy.
Yeah. No, but like
you guy.
But like watching him in a movie, just fucking
great.
Wing it. Like he's just a guy I would love to watch, right? And same thing. So I was thinking about this. I was like, and Chappelle, like Jamal brought up, Chris Rock and Louis. These are very structured comedians, right? Like I can tell they work on every, the cadence, the delivery, when they're gonna raise their voice. And Dave Chappelle's one of those stand-up guys who would just show up to a fucking club and just start fucking around. So I went to go see him live, and half the thing he was just riffing. He's just talking to people in the audience. Like
I saw him at Radio City. He was the same way.
It's very organic. So there's people like I love Chris Rock. He's my favorite, but I would probably rather hang out with Dave Chappelle or just watch him be himself.
Here's one for you. I cannot watch a Kevin Hart stand up to save my life. I think they're terrible. I think they're terrible. People love this shit. Motherfucker fills out whole football arenas. I think his stand up sucks. But I love him doing character shit.
Yeah, right. He's a funny guy, but the stand up is very predictable.
It's bad.
Yeah.
I'm sorry.
So that's why I enjoyed Kevin Hart. I think his first blowout performance.
Okay.
Didn't
he sell out like Lincoln Financial? Did he sell that shit out?
I mean, he was huge.
Crazy.
So his 2011 show is probably the only one I've seen like from beginning to end, maybe twice, because it was really good. But like Zane said, it becomes predictable, and
he stretches shit out so much, man.
But
like,
those are the guys that
just,
those are the guys. Like it's like anything in life. If you're creating art, you're creating media. Like those guys are going to be the biggest, right? It's easy for everybody to understand. He's doing funny voices. He's doing short jokes. He's doing and
he's
like
the Drake of comedy.
I mean, it's like pop comedy.
Well, hold up. I like Drake a lot, so.
I do too.
No, but look, kind of the same thing. Or Travis Scott of comedy. Well, I like Travis Scott too, but Kevin Hart's marketing machine is fucking incredible. I mean, that's why he's in the stratosphere, because they know how to package his tiny ass up and do different things, and it just works really well for him. I just don't think he's a good joke writer whatsoever.
No,
man,
I
just pictured Kevin Hart getting gift wrapped real quick.
I mean, that's basically what it is, man.
It depends what you look for. Like, if I'm watching comedy, I want to be enlightened. I want to learn something, right?
Yeah.
Which is kind of random, but a lot of people don't care for that. You know what I mean?
That's true.
They just want to see
they want a full escape.
You're too much of an intellect thing.
Intellectual. Intellectual. No,
We'll
I'm just really big into comedy, and I'm so top shelf of my shit. It's annoying because I don't find myself appreciating just entertainment. Right? I'm always looking for the best.
I'm totally the same way, man.
The fuck,
same way.
Yeah. Well, in any case, we're happy Chappelle's back on Netflix. in whatever degree, even if it's reruns of his old show. Also looking forward to some more of his more commentary over comedy, especially in these days, in this day and age with everything that's going on, especially when it comes out to call out conservatives, which is exactly what we're gonna do now in Detention. Dean Browning, a conservative Pennsylvania councilman.
I think he ran and lost for something, right? Or is he? Yeah.
So this guy, I'm pulling up the tweet right now.
It's so fucking absurd.
Forgets to turn on his burner account.
You can read the tweet for yourself in the
just
blog.
to give some background, just to give it some structure. I'm on YouTube a lot. And there's whatever, like, this is exactly what Abdul's gonna go into, but like I'll watch a video and then I'll read the comments and it's like the randomest names, right? That's the first thing. Some weird ass pictures, not even a person's face, it's some fucking avatar or some shit. And then this person is, well, I voted for, Trump, and I was about to have heart surgery, and then when Trump got elected, everything went away. God bless Donald Trump. 100 more years.
With like the American flag emojis back there.
Yeah. I'm like, who are these motherfuckers, right? Or it'll be like, oh, I'm black and I voted for Trump and I've just been tired of the left, blah 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 blah. Or finally somebody who thinks like, I'm like, who are these? Ridiculous. It's like robots, right? There's nobody writing this shit.
Yeah.
But go ahead.
Yeah.
So Dean Browning, he starts the thread. He tweets, what Trump built in 4 years, Biden will destroy in 4 months.
Mm-hmm.
To which some random guy on Twitter responds and says, you mean what Obama built in 8 years, Trump trying to take credit for it, blah, blah, blah. Trump destroyed in 3 months. What Obama did, blah, blah, blah. He's going off about Obama. Right. And then Dean Browning responds saying, I'm a black gay guy, and I can personally say that Obama did nothing for me. My life changed a little bit, and it was for the worse. Everything's so much better under Trump. So he clearly forgets to switch over to some burner account where he acts like a token, coon.
And just so everybody knows, this dude is the Trump. whitest guy in the world as his avatar.
It wasn't even a black guy.
This man said,
guy.
I am a black gay
Who even
man.
says that about I'm a black gay guy?
So guys, fellas, everybody, right or left, whatever, keep your burners on. Turn off TweetDeck.
So
just stop tweeting stupid shit.
That's really where it starts. How about that?
Like, just stop tweeting stupid shit.
I'm a gypsy Jew and I voted for Hitler.
Come on.
Well, didn't he try to clean this shit up? Didn't he say like
he tried to clean it up and say that he was quoting somebody that he had spoke to, and then that's when you throw in the why you always lying gifts. And I'm like, but
who else is lying? Them 4 seasons.
Them 4 seasons.
4 seasons.
Let's throw Rudy in there too.
Rudy Giuliani, man. Again, we were talking earlier about otherwise smart people who choose to take this conspiracy theory laden path and just fuck up their entire whatever legacy they had. Rudy was once a respectable person. Now he's become the drunk conspiracy theorist uncle.
He was the mayor of America.
That shit was crazy, man. He was on top of the world literally at one point. And now, so on Saturday morning, again, because I'm immersed in this shit, unfortunately, Rudy decides to hold a press conference in Pennsylvania. When Trump first tweeted about it, he said it's going to be the 4 seasons at, 10 a.m. or something like that. Trump deletes the tweet and it comes back and says the 4 Seasons Landscaping Company, which apparently is next to a porn shop. Did you hear about that shit?
It's in between a porn shop and like a gun store.
Crematorium.
Crematorium.
How fucking American is that, though? That's very American. Yeah, but yeah, man. So
Trump wasn't even at that presser, right?
No. Trump was on his way to play golf in Sterling. Like that's where he was.
And
he wasn't.
To be honest, I'll be very happy if he just stays on the golf course for the next 2 months.
Trump hasn't been seen in public since Saturday, right?
There was one picture and it looked like he was crying or some shit.
Yeah.
Probably put on 25 pounds.
I would pay to watch him just cry.
Yeah, yeah.
I would jerk off to that shit.
I want him to get forcibly removed from the White
I would
House.
come
Like
hard.
that's what I want to see.
Oh, I see. I totally see that happen. This
Yeah.
whole like transition of power.
He's not leaving.
Can you imagine like Trump even like going through those motions? I don't see it.
He might slide off in the middle of the night. Michael Cohen said that he's gonna just dip off to Mar-a-Lago and not even be in D.C. around inauguration time. Like
Yeah.
just try to just like escape in the night and shit.
Rest in peace, Uncle Phil. I want to see his ass thrown out like jazz.
Yeah, you ain't throwing Trump's big ass, man.
Oh.
But yeah, Rudy's ridiculous, man. Ridiculous. And he thinks he's doing something. He thinks he's doing something good. So a lot of these cases again have been dismissed. No merit. The postal worker that said he had switched the ballot dates, he recanted and said he was lying. It's a fucking circus, man.
Like people are sharing these fucking dumbass videos of shit being burned. And
If you are sharing James O'Keefe Project Veritas videos, you're already behind. Already.
Yeah.
I don't know why it stresses me out.
Like we've said, it's going to be nothing but a complete sideshow for the next 2 months. That's what we're taking it as. We've moved on.
Yeah.
We're gonna wrap this bitch up, and we'll be here next week. Biden's still gonna be president next week. Still your president because you can steal all the conservatives.
All those memes, take them all back. Yeah.
Still your president. He's
still your president. Still your president.
And who's your president now, bitch?
Bitch.
But yeah, that's a wrap. We made it through without our man Joe Glow. Shout out to him. I'm sure we have him next week with the rest of the gang, and we'll close it out. Peace.